this class of residents started planning their graduation in October. I don't know if there was a secret message behind that and that they couldn't wait to get away. Somehow I don't think that's the case though, and I fear by the end of the day we all may be in tears as we say goodbye to this amazing class. So first of all, congratulations class of 2022. And what a class this class has turned out to be. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to tell you that when they arrived as interns, we were all a little worried about them. So we had this class of 17 guys and one gal, Linda, who we, the women in our department, were really worried about Linda. We wondered, how is Linda going to survive in this sea of guys? However, it didn't take long before our concerns were relieved. Very quickly, Linda became established as the den mother, and the guys very, very quickly fell in line. However, it wasn't long before it became apparent that this group was unique. Not only did we see Linda in her role as the den mother, taking care of all of the technical and administrative issues for the guys, we saw the guys falling in line and actually looking after Linda and looking after each other. It's been an incredibly unique class with the support that we've seen and the bond that's developed within this group. I have to say, in the now 32nd graduating class of residents that I've participated in, I've never seen a class like this, who really have bonded. They've become amazing colleagues, very good friends, and they have extended this bond not only in the workplace, but out of the workplace, and it's been incredibly impressive. They're very quick to help each other if they have a challenging case, covering personal or family illnesses, or just personal needs. Their support with sharing educational tips and tools was very apparent, and they've helped move each other through the paradigm of 4 years of pretty grueling education in anesthesia. So I think there's not an attending in our group who wouldn't say this group is really unparalleled in their behavior and support. It really has been wonderful to see this. As an example, I want to share one evening, there was a case in Keck where the patient, it was a resident attending case. I'll leave the attending's name out, but the residents know who it was, where the patient sort of started to crump and pack you. And it was like at 5:30 at night. And so everyone was like, who's going to take the patient back to the OR? And we're scrambling to try to organize coverage. The next thing I know, I see not only the resident who did the case, but 4 of his colleagues in PACU all lining the patient up, getting drugs, getting the OR ready. And as a team, they took this patient back to the OR and supported their colleagues. And I think they were there till well into the evening. But it just is an example of, they're there for the patients, they're there for each other, and it was a pretty amazing thing to see. We are definitely going to miss these guys. They've really added to our environment at LA County and at Keck in ways that we never really expected. I can't read my own notes. I want to sort of acknowledge the parents, families, and friends. I know that as a parent of 3 grown girls, that this isn't a journey that these guys just turn out this good on their own. It's usually because of family influences and family help. And I want to say that you guys should be very, very proud of these 18 young physicians, now new anesthesiologists. They are truly the new generation who will make an impact, not only in our profession, but also in every aspect of humanity that they touch. We will truly miss them, and I know they're going to miss each other, and I hope that they'll miss us enough that they'll come back and visit, or come back and sign that contract that I have in the top drawer of my desk, should any of them decide that USC is where they would like to make their career. So we have a very special speaker to start off the event this morning. The graduations picked a guest speaker from our group, and I think that Dr. Spencer Robinson is going to come up and introduce this very special guest speaker.
Thank you very much, everybody, for being here today. I appreciate everybody's time and the support that you've given us all as residents as we've gone through our training process. And it's just a really honor to have everyone here today. How about that? Okay. So, the story of Dr. Sokol is truly one of a homecoming. As you see, Dr. Sokol is a graduate of USC, and he performed both his undergraduate studies as well as medical school here at USC. And it's truly an honor and a privilege to have him back again to grace us with his wisdom and his knowledge. Dr. Sokol has created an absolutely outstanding academic career, and he has elevated the experience of our residency during his time here already. On one of his first days back in USC's ORs, I had the privilege of being assigned to work with him. It was a very tough case, and I spent the entire day getting my butt kicked up and down the OR. With all the swings up and down, Dr. Sokol saw that I had struggled with my performance, that I felt to be lacking because of the challenge of the case. He reminded me that anesthesia is a contact sport, and that there are going to be some times that you get knocked down. This is doubly true in the process of residency, and even so in life. And Dr. Sokol himself is a model of this philosophy, that perseverance is the key to success. Dr. Sokol's accolades and accomplishments are so many that I cannot simply list them all here in a single day. However, it is not just the length of one's CV, but it is the quality of our professors' teachings and our interactions that matter so much to a resident. And in here, Dr. Sokol is an exemplary attending. He is fun to work with, and he imparts his wisdom and knowledge with every case. Dr. Sokol's preferred title, as he will tell you, is junior faculty. Though he has served as a principal educator and vice chairman at Northwestern for many years before joining us again. Moreover, he has been a mentor and an advisor to residents and faculty alike. He serves as an auditor and a full oral board examiner for the American Board of Anesthesiology. He has chaired meetings for the American Society of Anesthesiologists and is Chief Health Policy Officer at the ASA, among many other appointments that he has had. He may very well be a member of every professional society that exists in anesthesia. Dr. Sokol has given more talks than we can list, all of them, I guarantee, fascinating. He's an expertise in practice management and has a particular interest in the subject, which he shares with the residents. His research publications have covered a broad range of subjects, including those of pain management, paralytic pharmacology, hemodynamics, vascular access, cardiopulmonary bypass, temperature management, fluid management, cognitive function, and the list could go on. Truly, it is a privilege to have someone with such academic accomplishments here at this program to educate our residents. During his time here, it really has been an honor for us to have Dr. Sokol here, and I'm thankful for him today for gracing us with his wisdom that he'll share.
the kind introduction, Spencer, especially gratifying from someone I have the greatest admiration and respect for. My words here. So, residents, family, friends, faculty, and staff, good morning. Finally, after 30 years, I'm also graduating this group. Please. It is indeed kind that the residents have a junior attending addressing everyone this morning. It was also kind of the CA3 to invite me to their education meeting in Las Vegas this past February. There are many great comments that weekend, but I think the best was from Dr. Matamed, who said he wished the residents would lose a little bit of money gambling so they're more likely to moonlight, always thinking of the others. Have I said this before? This is my favorite class in 27 years working with residents. Smart, energetic, and concerned. As Winston Churchill once said, attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. Sorry, this class makes a big difference. They are very special. They care about each other, their residency, and most importantly about patients. I wish I could bottle their secret sauce, and I really feel bad for the classes that are following. They have a really tough act to follow. And as Dr. Muir said, I cannot count the number of times they stayed late taking care of the bleeding or critically ill patient. And Dr. Muir referred to the cystectomy patient that ended up getting 55 units of blood. And it was Dr. Mai Chan Mystery and Tran who actually saved this patient's life. So great work. And also Dr. Linda Wong and Dr. Siri Vornan, uncool. Did I get close? I worked all night trying to get the name right. Who stepped in to save the life of a liver transplant patient. You are truly a band of brothers and sister. By the way, I'm not sure how Linda survived 4 years with this group. You're an absolute saint. And though not true, Linda says she feels a little less feminine after 4 years of working. I will miss this class dearly, as will all of us. I get so much more from them than they ever will get from me. And anesthesiology is truly a noble calling. Who else goes to work every day to relieve the pain and suffering of others, console them, and guide them through their surgical trespass? This is truly a legendary class. Which other residency class has a movie star? Someone in line for the North Korean leadership. The effing man. Where's the effing man? The Dr. Tango Whisperer. And the resident whose grandfather wrote a landmark textbook in anesthesia. Yeah! I appreciate your sacrifice, all the moonlighting, living in a garage, staying up way too many nights doing liver transplant, exploratory laparotomy, or ruptured aortic aneurysm. And I said before, I don't train residents. You train a dog or a seal. I feel we've been on a learning journey together. It's never about passing a test. It's about critical thinking, curiosity, and leadership. Whether in a group, operating room, hospital, regional, or national setting, I know you will lead. You'll also lead in your community. You have a career you can look back on and be proud of all you have done. Residents have also taught me many good things. Linda Wong, what gives not to give a Chinese person. Quat ran about the joys of Vietnamese coffee. Luke Suter on pulmonary hypertension. And Luke and I also share a common appreciation of the rock duo Steely Dan. There have been also many memorable moments, too many to mention, but one in particular stands out. One day working with a certain resident in an OR, and he said, Doctor, you would have done this case in 5 minutes. The only problem is that the surgeon that took 2 hours to do the procedure was still present in the operative. Well, more meetings. They are a very close group. Always 3 or 4 will show up together in OR to help out. They show up somehow as if by telepathy. Though many are staying for pediatrics at CHLA, doing fellowship in cardiac regional pain at Keck. But they really are unique. They always travel in bands together. I'm not sure how they walk to the bathroom alone, though. Most importantly, always stay in touch. The word doctor comes from the word docere, which means to teach. We're all teachers, and the residents have been committed teachers of medical students and junior residents through these years. And I trust the graduates will continue to teach others throughout their careers. And some parting thoughts for the graduating class. Don't be a locker slammer. Always be humble, always be grateful. You have an amazing path forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zockel. I've been looking forward to hearing this for many months now. It was wonderful. So the next thing on our agenda is to start the presentation of the diplomas, and I'm going to get Dr. Chelsea Jackson to join us at the podium. And if you think we have a theme going on here with sore knees, I think you're probably right. And it's the same knee too, actually. So yeah, so welcome.
Okay. Well, thank you. All right. So we're going to get started because we want to make sure that we get out of here before the sun blesses us too much. So, all right. How about we congratulate Dr. Garrett Chan. Candace Tay.
Good morning. I'm Candace Tay, and I'm here to introduce our graduating resident, Garrett Chan, today. And most of you know Garrett, but if you don't, I want to shed some light on who he is. I first met and remember Garrett as an intern on the heart failure service, where he said hello to me at the CTICU at Keck. I thought it was unusual because I usually do cardiac anesthesia, and so we don't really see the residents until they're senior residents. But Garrett, he's loud. He's gregarious, he's boisterous, he makes sure you know who he is. I thought he must have taken a special interest in me because we were both at Creighton University, and every time I'd run into him, he would always say hi, have a winning smile, and start asking me about my cardiac patient that I was dropping off in the ICU. I began to have a special affection for this big guy from Hawaii, encouraging him to pursue a fellowship in cardiac anesthesia. As I knew him to be an eager learner, his fellow residency mates may know him to be a bit of a heckler. I can't tell you how many times Garrett has created and showed me memes of Alex Chen. I've heard, though, he's also very caring of his colleagues. Who knew Garrett had a side gig as a hairdresser? He gave many of his classmates COVID cuts during isolation while he sported the man bun. He did a surprisingly good job on Horace and Alex, though I hear Will's fiance wasn't too pleased. As Garrett advanced in his training, he matured and became more serious. Was it the pandemic? Well, where we all, especially anesthesia, had to toughen up, take over some of the ICU shifts? I'm not so sure. But one thing is for sure, this graduating residency class experienced a unique and hopefully never have to be repeated experience, at least for the next 100 years. Garrett, he excelled and showed he could be a leader. He was eventually nominated to be one of the 3 chief residents. Everyone thinks the chief job is easy, but it isn't entirely the case. Imagine dealing with the schedule, residents who call out sick, and being responsible for settling out miscommunications amongst the residents. The chief position also revealed another side to Garrett that I never expected. He felt responsible for managing tough situations and for teaching. I was so used to the fun-loving and gregarious Garrett that I never knew he had such a high expectation for interns and medical students. Ultimately, though, I think it was because he cares about his patients and he cares about the team doing well and succeeding and everyone learning. He's always searching for knowledge and always willing to follow up and take responsibility if needed. This is why we are lucky Garrett is staying with us for another year in Adult Cardiothoracic Fellowship. We get another year of antics and fun, seeing as he matched at Keck with many of his favorite residency mates. During fellowship days, the days and nights will both be long and tough, but one thing is for sure, everyone here wishes him the best, and we will be here to support him in hopefully what will be his final year of training.
So it is my distinct honor and pleasure to announce the next resident for graduation. This resident, let me introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Tali Navazian. I am the program director for the Pain Fellowship. And so it's my honor to announce this next resident. He grew up in the city of Laverne, which isn't too far from here. And before going into medicine, he had an aspiring career as an actor. And I decided to leave the details of that out because I don't want to take away from all of his accomplishments since. But I know it's piqued everyone's curiosity, so if you want to look up the movie, it's called Baseball Love. So, much to the relief of his family, I'm sure, and to the benefit of our profession, this resident chose to pursue medicine, and he graduated from the Frank Netter School of Medicine, and before joining us for residency. I got to know him very well on his pain rotation. So we were at Norris doing bilateral knee joint injections with Synvisc for a patient with sedation. I know there's a lot of things wrong with that sentence. For those of you who know, knee joint injections shouldn't be done with sedation, nor should they be done in the OR. But anyway, there we were. And the nurses had never heard of Synvisc, and the Norris pharmacy didn't carry this medication. So this patient is on the OR table, sedated, and everyone's in a panic. And so this resident just jumps out of the woodwork, volunteers to go track down this magic drug and bring it back. And he's, without direction, guidance, of where to go to get it, he was gone and back in a flash. And in that moment, he rescued the patient who was, sedated for this procedure on the table, the OR staff who was very uncomfortable, and of course, me. And so this situation speaks to the qualities of this resident, which was very outstanding to me, and that is integrity, professionalism, anticipating a need, finding ways to fulfill that need on his own device. And as an educator, these qualities are almost impossible and very difficult to teach. And they're the qualities that make the very best physicians. So I'm very honored that he's joining us for a fellowship next year. And I want to congratulate his family for raising such a wonderful young man, and apologize to his wife for having to borrow him for another year of education. And so please come up here to accept your graduation certificate, Dr. Alexander Chen.
Our next presenter is Dr. Bo Elistad.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. I'll try not to keep this too long. The sun's already creeping on me. My name is Mohammed Elistaz. I'll be introducing Dr. Brian Chen. So I was flattered when I was asked to do this because I've always had such a great experience working with Brian. But I was also a little terrified because honestly, it's super hard to get any information about Brian. So let's start with the basics. He was born and raised in Manhattan Beach. He went to medical school in Northwestern. And he came back to live in San Marino while completing his anesthesia residency here at USC. There's one thing I do know about Brian, whether he admits it or not. He is an absolute expert at staying under the radar. Brian does not want to be the nail that sticks out, ever. So it's my job to spend these next 3 minutes to put all the spotlight on Brian Chen, like right there. All right, so I'll start with this. One day, Brian and I are working in the OR, and we're talking about, hobbies and stuff, and he asked me, what are your hobbies? And I say, I love building and flying drones. And for the first time in my life, I got a positive response. Nobody cares. So Brian's like, wow, that's so cool. That's so awesome. Do you build them from scratch? How do you do this? How did you get into it? And I'm like, okay, me and this resident have completely connected. We're like on the same wavelength. We're gonna get along. And so I tell him, I was like, it was fun, easy to get into. And one day when you're an attending and you have money and time, you'll be able to pick up the same hobbies as me. You'll be just as cool. What are your hobbies? And so Brian just casually goes, oh, I don't have many hobbies, but I guess, sometimes I do drive my Porsche along Angeles Crest, and sometimes I pick up lost celebrities by the name of Jay Leno, and I guide them to their final destination when they're lost, because I know the area so well. And I was like, man, thank goodness we are on the same wavelength. The next day I'm starting a night shift, and I'm outside the hospital and I see a helicopter landing, and I'm like, man, it's gonna be a really busy night. We already got a sick patient coming in, and it turns out it was just Brian Chen coming to work. Just kidding. That last story was completely made up. I'm just joking, Brian. We love you. No joke, let's get to the serious stuff. I only got 3 minutes, so that's enough. It's about as far as I can take it. Brian was the first C01 ever when I started as faculty here at USC to actually come up to me and ask me for direct advice. He asked me what to study, what the blueprint should be, what things to do so he wouldn't fall behind. Really concerned, and I told him everything. I talked for as you can tell, I talk a lot, 45 minutes. And I was like, I wonder if he absorbed any of this. And honestly, I was so happy. He came up to me a year later. We hadn't worked together for an entire year. And he tells me, it worked. Everything you said worked. I'm a lot less anxious now. I'm happy about this. Everything's going great. And to be completely honest, it's cliche, but that is actually super rewarding for us. So thank you for that. He's always on time. He's always prepared. Over the years, he's grown to become an excellent physician. I've never once had to worry about him being in the room alone. And we trust him because he's good at what he does. He's smart, he's responsible, he studies, he keeps up on his reading, and he really, really cares about his reputation. So Brian, I just wanted to say, we were so happy to see your name on the fellow list with us next year. And we're all really, really looking forward to you joining us next year for your regional fellowship here at USC. You're procedurally strong, you're gonna get stronger, and we're looking forward to having you. I'm sure your family is proud of you, and so are we, so congratulations.
I'd like to welcome to the stage Dmitry Arnaudov.
I got you. It didn't work. You're too tall.
All right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Dmitry Arnaudov. I'm one of the faculty here in this department, and I have been entrusted with the very pleasant task to introduce our next wonderful graduate of this amazing class of 2022. And if you ask me to describe him, I would say that he's a smart, diligent, hardworking, honest, friendly, and a charming fellow with a good heart and an easy smile. It is my pleasure and great honor to present to you Dr. Shidozie Shimezi. So the name itself sounds like a poem. Shidozie Shimezie, and it has a meaning actually in Igbo, and translates roughly into "May God fix it and make it good for me." I found that very exciting for some reason. I don't know, and I don't speak Igbo, as you can tell, but I just Googled it, and then that verified that this family, which is present here. So the name, of course, is no coincidence. Shidozie's parents immigrated to the U.S. from Nigeria, the giant of Africa, where Igbo is widely spoken. But Shidozie was born and grew up in a less exotic place, known as the Bay Area, and as the elder of two brothers. So one random fact from his youth, as a younger man, he played soccer for a traveling team for 8 years. Surprisingly though, despite his passion for soccer, he didn't choose soccer as his future career. Instead, Shidozie went to Berkeley for his undergrad studies, where he majored in economics. And later, after successfully graduating from UCLA Medical School, Shidozie finally joined our LAC-USC anesthesiology program. Next, after his graduation, he'll be joining Kaiser. Now I'm going to use this occasion and offer Shidozie and all of the fresh grads an unsolicited word of wisdom for their future career. As you know by now, in our profession as anesthesiologists, we frequently need to make judgment calls, which means in a critical situation, you have to rely more on your instinct and guts rather than on book knowledge and established protocol. Naturally, we need good judgment more than anything to make the right call. But where is the good judgment coming from? Well, good judgment comes from experience. But where is the experience coming from? Well, it comes from bad judgment. So the bottom line here is now you know why we need residency. To gather the necessary experience coming from bad judgment and use it in the future to make good judgment calls and tackle any critical situation that comes your way. So Shidozie, today you fulfilled the meaning of your name. Today God did make it good for you because today is the day when you have successfully and officially graduated. And it is true, if it's true that anesthesiology is still more art than science, let it be known that you're a true artist. Congratulations to you and your family.
So, thank you. So I'm going to bring back to the stage the Honorable Dr. Foco.
Dr. Choi, stand with me. We're standing together. So I'm very fortunate to introduce and celebrate three remarkable individuals. The first is Dr. Chi-Wan Choi, also known as Kevin Choi, who was born in Daejeon City in South Korea to a mother who's a teacher and a father who's a businessman turned educator. His parents, sure. No, it's fine. His parents had a keen sense of education and were determined to send Kevin abroad to experience a bigger world. Kevin spent a couple of early years in the Philippines at an international elementary school. After graduating from junior high school in Korea, his parents asked him if he was willing to go abroad to study once more. He nervously said yes. He headed to Alberta, Canada, and spent a few freezing years, but some of the warmest days of his life surrounded by lifelong friends, especially during holidays we could not afford to fly home. When he was 20 years old, upon discussion with his parents, he decided to fulfill his military duty as a Korean citizen. He joined a specialized course where he worked with the United States Army Military Police and the United States Army Garrison at Camp Humphreys in South Korea. He was awarded the Army Commendation Medal at the end of his 22-month service. To Kevin, it was a difficult experience with many challenges that taught him discipline, humility, and grit. And not once during his tenure in the South Korean Army did the North dare invade. G1 returned to Canadian University College and finished his BS in biology. He was then accepted at Loma Linda University Medical School. It was during his medical school years he married his wife Jean, who was a childhood friend, and then she gave birth to their daughter Liel during residency. Kevin enjoys travel, playing soccer, rock climbing, watching TV shows and movies. They have the cutest daughter ever, Liel. I remember when I had the residents over to my apartment for a practice management talk, Liel was the most attentive. He's always willing to help, never once upset that he was called back on call. Once he's taken care of a Parkinson's patient for a deep brain stimulator replacement who had terrible cramps because his morning medications were held to test the efficacy of stimulation. Kevin spent most of the occasion massaging the feet and legs of the patient to ease his pain. What compassion for another human being. Kevin chose anesthesiology because his calling in medicine be with those that are suffering. His goal is to become a physician that confront and sustain life with his presence and proficiency. And also, more importantly, to be a good father, husband, and just a good person. The three words that G1 described himself are compassionate, mindful, and persevering. I think of him as an old soul, serene, careful, and thoughtful. We are all thrilled that he'll be continuing his education, compassion, and quiet leadership as a regional fellow at Keck Medical Center. Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna, Quatran, please come up. Now, unfortunately, this is supposed to be limited to 3 minutes. It should be about 3 hours of Qua. Here we go. Quatran was born in Vietnam. His father was a South Vietnamese military officer who spent 7 years in prison after the war. Qua came to the United States at 5 years of age. He grew up in Atlantic City, New Jersey. His father worked at a valet driver at Trump Taj Mahal Hotel. His mother worked at a local Vietnamese restaurant. He's the oldest of 4 boys. His hobby growing up including reading and literature, which he got from his dad. His destiny seemed certain. Quatran would be a great literary scholar. He attended high school at St. Augustine Prep in New Jersey. He has the distinction of being the first person in his school to fail the AP English exam. However, he went on to Rutgers University where he majored in English. There he received the award for the best honors thesis. Quatran also received the Jordan Lee Flyer Honors Award for a student whose work demonstrated outstanding promise and achievement in the study of language and literature. Additionally, he was a convocation speaker in the 2014 School of Arts and Sciences. As Rutgers undergraduate, Tran, a Vietnam native, impresses professors with his flair for literature theory and his facility with challenging materials, such as the work and social critic Michel Foco, a writer whose books I'm sure are on everyone's nightstand. He was the first person in his family to go to medical school, where he matriculated at Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School. Sadly, he lost his younger brother, Son, and his mother, Shen, in the 4th year of medical school. Qua has tremendous respect and love for his father and often quotes him to me. Here are some of his dad's quotes and the words of wisdom from a former political prisoner. If you want to get things done, bribe them. Don't be stupid, stupid. If someone mistakes, tell them once and then move on. It does no one any good to linger on. I'll be dead by the time you become a doctor. I don't care what you do in life. I just want you to be a good person. Quad did indeed listen to his father. Quad described himself as easygoing, humble, and funny. These are all true. I would describe Quad with one word: warrior. He has a strong sense of right and wrong and great integrity and will speak up and act when he sees wrong. We're honored to have Dr. Tran be the inaugural liver transplant fellow at Keck USC. I know he has an outstanding academic career ahead of him. Thank you. David was born and raised in Lincoln Heights, just north of the hospital. He attended the nearby Lincoln High School, then University of California, Irvine, for undergraduate work in biology. Then he attended Keck Medical School for his School of Medicine training. His father's a cook. His mother sells cars. There are 7 children in his family. He's the 5th one. His hobbies are hiking, snowboarding, traveling, taking his dog Mia to the beach, taking to the park, and hanging out at the beach. I remember the time on call when we had a patient present with a small bowel obstruction, and I told David I intubate all my small bowel patients awake. He gave me this strange and quizzical look, probably thought I was out of my mind, but as if on cue, the patient began to vomit copiously. I won't forget that night. Dave will be off to community practice in Torrance at Little Company Mary Medical Center with 3 of our former graduates. 3 words that David described himself are calm, thorough, easygoing. These are all true. David, like in many of his classes, is what I call a sleeper. I am convinced that he will have many leadership roles within his group, department, and hospital. He has a very bright future ahead of him.
Our next presenter is Dr. Paul Lee.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. My name is Paul Lee. I'm one of the third-year faculty here at USC. I've had the pleasure of working with Jeffrey Lynn for the last 3 years. What an honor to be up here. I could tell you that Dr. Lynn is from Arcadia, that he went to UCLA for medical school, that he loves the Lakers, especially Russell Westbrook. I think he cried tears of joy when Westbrook got traded to the Lakers, actually. But we all know that's not what we want to hear about Jeff. There are so many stories that make up the illustrious residency career of Dr. Jeffrey Lynn. So you can imagine my excitement and anxiety when I discovered that I got the coveted opportunity to introduce Jeff. I can't mess this up. What stories do I tell? How professional should I be? Should I get fired for telling these stories? But I'll risk it all for you, Jeff. Jeff's nickname famously halfway through residency became TFM. Now, this story has been told so many times that I can't even recognize the dead horse at this point. But there are some here who haven't heard, so to make a long story short, in a moment of celebration after placing an epidural on a very challenging patient, he texted his friends about his triumph and claimed that he was the effing man. Unfortunately for him, Dr. Alvarez, one of our attendings, was the recipient of that text at a time where iMessage still hadn't allowed you to delete those text messages. Akin to sending an I love you text to someone you just started dating, Jeff came to a horrifying realization. That old nickname ultimately stuck, but Jeff has embraced it, and lived up to it in ways. Jeff is a very diligent, outstanding resident who definitely did more than what was expected of him, almost to a fault. He was constantly working on posters and projects, one of which was creating a frequently asked questions guide for our home nerve block catheters that will soon widely circulate to our patients. He fell in love with chronic pain management, and after a grueling application and interview process that took him around the country via Zoom, he'll be joining the prestigious Cleveland Clinic next year for his fellowship. Even through all the heckling and jokes since that epic text, I'm impressed by your sense of humor. Don't ever lose that. Your family should be proud. They raised a man who is hardworking, working to be the best doctor he can be. You should be proud of your son. Congratulations, Jeff. Keep in touch. Best of luck next year. And I can't wait to hear about your TFM moment in fellowship.
I want to introduce our next speaker. That would be Dr. Arash Matamed.
All right, well, hello everyone. I'm Arash Matamed, an anesthesia faculty and a graduate of this residency program. I'm here to introduce Dr. You can't hear me? Is this better? Yes. I want to make sure the kids' table over there, they can hear me. So I'm here to introduce Dr. Charles McIntyre. So Dr. Charles McIntyre went to Campbell University for medical school, and following the residency program here in a few weeks, he'll be joining the prestigious Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, where he will do pediatric anesthesiology fellowship. So a while ago, Charlie came up to me and said that he wanted me to be the person who's going to give him or do the introduction for him. This is before all of this was planned. And he told me I can say whatever I want to say. His exact quote, dealer's choice. And then 2 weeks ago, he comes up and says, by the way, there will be about 50 people of my family and friends who are going to be in attendance. And I swear he winked. So dear Charlie McIntyre family, I don't know where you are, but I'm sure you're everywhere here. Charlie is an incredible human being. In fact, I can say he is the only resident ever that has directly impacted my life and my wife's life for the better. So this all started around this time last year when my wife and I made a very impulsive decision to climb Kilimanjaro without any training whatsoever and any research, because we both suffer from overconfidence bias disorder. So I'm doing a liver transplant 3 in the morning with Charlie, and I just happened to tell this to him. And as many of you know, he's traveled all around the world, and he's actually lived in Tanzania for a while. So he started telling me step by step every which way my wife and I can die on this trip. But he followed all of it with all of the solutions and recommendations on how we can cheat death. And without going into details, I will tell you it's an absolute 100% true story that if it wasn't for some of that information, we went there as 2 people and we were about to come back as 1. So Charlie, I'm forever grateful for the recommendation that you gave me. It says a lot also about who you are. You're a very well experienced and very well educated human being and very well rounded. I'm very proud of everything that you've accomplished, and I know you're going to do wonderful things in CHLA and beyond. So congratulations, and come out here. And happy birthday.
Cooper.
Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Tanga to the stage.
I don't know where to start. I have been here at USC for the last 39 years. I was trained in England. I've been around in Europe for a while. To all these places like Ireland, England, Sweden, all those places. I did my medical school in Sri Lanka, and I was born in Malaysia. Then I joined here initially as the director of the ICU, at ICU there, Norris, and also as the director of the pain management and high-risk anesthesia when they bleed a lot of blood. So that's how I started, and I'm going to, that makes me 100 years old. I'm going to present first Dr. Tuan. Can you come over here, please? Yeah, there you go. I am privileged to speak the achievement of two residents. I don't know whether they are tough or difficult. I don't know. It's up to you all to decide. What I can say is I'm proud of them, too. And I'm proud of all of you. You have worked with me either in the ICU or in the OR or in the corridor. We talk about it all the time. And I think all of you, including him, the quality of our work is shaped by our character, our drive and passion. And we have all the residents have that. First, I'm going to introduce, I'm introducing two residents. One is here, other one is Boris, sitting there. Dr. Tuan was born in Norway. That makes him a Norwegian or a European citizen. How did that happen? Looked like a Norwegian. But he talks about Norway is famous for all these human rights issues. He talks about it all the time with me. His parents, they are originally from Vietnam. They were, after the Vietnam War, they were refugees, went to Malaysia. That's where I was born and I was raised. And there the father and mother met each other. And they got married. From there they went to Norway. And he was born in this city called Bergen, surrounded by mountains. And one side ocean, surrounded by. Then they stayed there for a while. And they decided to, he had two brothers, and they decided to come to the U.S. Probably to find stuff. He completed his undergrad education at University of California, Irvine, and his medical school training at Tufts University. And he did extremely well at both places. Now he's completing his anesthesiology residency here, and also he was interested in critical care. I don't know whether I inspired him or he hated me for that, or I don't know. That's what he wants to do that. If I have to make my comments about him, Chuan is a very level-headed guy. And initially I found him so difficult to work with. After so many years, even Dr. Sokol was a resident when I started off. He questioned everything I told him. But he read the books a lot, and then I have to spend a lot of time to talk to him. Then, but he's later on, in the second rotation, I found him completely different. He did everything sad, and also I found him very persevering resident. His spirit is driven by the desire for knowledge. He reads extensively, and he does it also. He's not a theoretician completely. He works hard. He tries to do all the difficult patients, and he's also meticulous and analytical doctor. Everything he analyzes. Sometimes he does it too much. I did psychology, so I understood him. And he has tremendous potentials, and that's why he has chosen this field of intensive care fellowship. And he's going to go to Seattle. He's joining one of our other chief resident here, Morgan, and both of them are going to do liver transplant or ICU, I don't know. But I wish him all the best, and he'll make a great intensivist. Dr. Forrest, can you come over here? Forrest is from a first generation Parsi. Both parents came from Bombay. And who are these Parsis? Parsis are originally from Persia. That's what this is very much before that, when Persians were the first empire, started in Rome and spread to China. And then, of course, it fell down, like any other empire. And they became a minority. They moved to India. And they're very successful in India, the Parsis. And that's where the name Parsi comes from, Persia. He was, they came to Irvine, like Tuan, and he completed his undergrad degree at Berkeley. And he also did molecular environmental biology. I don't know what is that, but something to do with molecules, something to do with the environment, and something there, I don't know, I forgot to ask him what is it. And at the same time, he did a minor in global poverty and practice. I don't know, a lot of ideas. Still, I have to figure out from him what those things are. He didn't tell me before, otherwise I would have asked him. Yeah. So then he completed his medical training at University of Arizona College of Medicine, Phoenix, with a certificate of distinction in service and community health. There's another one, you know. He did a lot of things. I don't think it's very difficult to do that. jack of all trades and master of everything, I think. Just before starting residency, he married his lovely wife, girlfriend that time, Amy. She's here, walking around. And she is, then I found out that she's connected to these Tatas. Tata is India. You know, they own India. They are, even though they are minority, not only own India, they took part of America. He got this Jaguar company, he took it from half of the Ford, Leyland, and all these things. And he donated a lot of money to USC. Here as well as the bank. He's a trustee. So they were related to him. So that's... He never told me that before. I initially thought he was just from Patel or something from India. But then he explained to me... Microphone. Yeah, sorry. And they have a dog that smiles at them all the time. They call it Yogi. I thought it was, he said something, he wrote to me and saying that Yogi, I thought he was referring to me. But the dog, that is Yogi. I don't know, must be meditating. Compassion is one of his strengths. That's it. He's very compassionate towards everybody. Too much of compassion also not good. But he's friendly with everybody. He smiles all the time, and that's why he is going to the field of pain medicine. Talk to everybody, smile at them. And, you get the points. That's why I didn't want to do pain medicine. I couldn't smile much. After completing his residency, now he's going to go to. He's staying here. So that's good. I don't know. But I wish him all the best, and so that's pretty much I can tell you more about it.
All right. Our next speaker is Dr. Paul Lee. Welcome back.
All right. It's my distinct honor to introduce Dr. Andy Newhart. He grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, attended medical school at Northeast Ohio University. I've had the pleasure of working with Andy for all 3 years that I've been here. Andy will always be memorable to me because he was the first resident to ever ask me for a letter of recommendation. I struggled writing that letter, to be honest. It was my first one, so I, did what anyone with common sense would do, just wing it. Lucky for me, someone like Andy didn't need much beyond his own personality to score a fellowship at Cedars-Sinai. Unrelated, if they give you weird looks next year, it's not because of my letter. In all seriousness, writing that letter for Andy made writing this introduction pretty easy. I learned all I needed to know about Andy in my first interaction with him as a CA1. We had a complicated case where communication between our side and surgery was critical. During the case, that senior surgical resident tried to throw Andy under the bus. He immediately turned to me and claimed it wasn't true, firmly, but humbly and respectfully. The way Andy reacted to this surgical resident's skewed story told me all I needed to know about him. Over the course of his residency, it's clear that this was just a stepping off point where he's grown to exhibit leadership qualities that I'd love to see in every graduating resident exhibit as an anesthesiologist. On a recent overnight call, seeing his guidance of junior residents, in addition to a calm and direct approach in stressful situations, showed me how far Andy's come. Ms. Newhart, if you're out there, you should be proud of the way you raised your son. He was an absolute joy to work with, and he's in good hands at C0001. Andy, congratulations on wrapping up this part of your journey. Continue to be bold and humble as you complete your training and beyond. Please keep in touch, and best of luck next year.
Our next presenter is Dr. Bo Alistair.
All right, hi everybody, I'm back. Spencer Robertson, where do I begin? Spencer grew up in San Diego, and he went to Creighton University for medical school before coming back to California to complete his anesthesia residency here at USC. It's abundantly clear from his WhatsApp profile picture and other things that he loves the outdoors, and on weekends when he's not at work, he's hiking, rock climbing, backpacking, or even camping in various remote areas. I worked with Spencer once during his entire first year, I think. And it was not memorable at all. Really, because nothing went wrong. Everything was textbook, everything went exactly how it should, everything was by the book. But the second time I worked with him, I knew I would never forget Spencer. So after our case settled, I asked him if he wanted to cover any educational topics, and boy was I in for a ride. He enthusiastically gave me a thumbs up. I thought he was being sarcastic, he was not. And he told me he had a question about a topic I covered way earlier, and he wanted clarification. And honestly, I had no idea what he was talking about. He then pulled out an entire ring of index cards where he had written and cataloged every bit of knowledge that he'd come across in starting. It was unbelievable. He had everything I said months ago written down, and everything everybody had said written down for like the entire course of his residency. So I was like, uh-oh, I really have to watch what I say in front of this guy. This super smart resident is going to persistently fact check me until no stone is left unturned. And so I said something really basic that I couldn't be wrong about, like the sky is blue or something. I left the room, and then I started reading for like 2 hours to make sure I didn't mess up what he was asking about. But I really appreciated that experience, and I think a lot of the attendings that work with him appreciated it as well. Spencer's the kind of resident that will put up the effort on his end to make sure that you put up the effort on your end. He's fair and understands the push-pull dynamic, and his energy level is really difficult to match. He's the kind of curious resident that keeps pushing the faculty to improve. Personally, Spencer really helped get the board review going this year through continuous words of encouragement and active participation during, before, and after lecture. He helped push me to maintain the momentum, and even though it may not seem very significant, I know how much energy that took out of you. I can't tell you how much I appreciated it. So now, while Spencer is one of my favorite residents to work with, teach, and ultimately learn from, it's important to note that he refuses to put up a front. It's one of those things we love about him. He's super direct. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and you get exactly what you see. Nothing more, nothing less. For example, there's no need to ask Spencer how his day is going. If Spencer is happy, Spencer simply smiles. If he was mad, he will dramatically shake his head and frown. If he approves, you get an enthusiastic thumbs up. If Spencer is excited, and it doesn't matter if you're in a hospital cafeteria or the operating room, Spencer will start performing some very dramatic and impressive kung fu. All I can say is thank goodness we're anesthesiologists and not poker players, because there's zero bluff with Spencer. All in all, Spencer has grown to become an excellent physician, and it wasn't a surprise to any of us that he was chosen to be one of the chief residents this year. He's smart, curious, competent, respectful, and always maintains his professionalism and enthusiasm at work. Even though we tried to convince him to stay with us, Spencer will be joining a very fortunate private practice group with Northern Arizona Healthcare in Flagstaff, Arizona. If you're ever in Arizona and can't find Spencer, remember to look for the guy doing kung fu in the middle of the desert, or in the middle of a hospital cafeteria or whatever. It'll be Spencer. They're lucky to have you, Spencer, and we're all so proud of you. Congratulations.
Our next presenter is Dr. Arash Matamed.
All right. So I'm honored to be the one that's going to introduce Dr. Chris Siri-Varaninkel. I also practiced all of last night. Chris went to Rosalind Franklin for medical school in Chicago, and then after the residency here, he will also be at Children's Hospital of Los Angeles doing pediatric anesthesia fellowship. So we're very proud of him today. Now, I have to say, I feel really obligated to embarrass you just a little bit before I compliment you. You see, I'm actually very shocked to be selected to introduce him. About a month and a half ago, I go to my office, and on the desk, there is a note that says, and I quote, "What did I do to deserve such hate?" Question mark. Signed, sad face emoji. Now, I knew it was he who wrote it because he used an I statement. And that's very typical of Chris. He knows exactly how to say and what he wants to say and how to get the emotion he wants out of me. So I was very hurt. I'm not gonna lie. My heart was broken for a while until last week when, through a proxy, he sent a message that he has reconsidered and would like to give me the opportunity again to come up here and introduce him. I have never been so happy. All of that aside, Chris is a wonderful resident. He has this uncanny ability to see every little thing that's wrong that can be fixed and can be made better. It's amazing to me because it's the stuff everybody glosses over. You walk down the operating room, some switch is broken, and we all just walk past, and this is the guy that says, "Hey, why is this broken? We gotta fix this." I have so many different quality improvement projects that I now have to do thanks to Chris. He sends and writes safety reports almost weekly and has, just by doing that, created job security for me for the next few decades. And in fact, because of that, I'm trying to recruit him after he does his CHLA fellowship so that he can come by and help work on those projects for me. I can't wait. But in all honesty, I can tell you that our KEC ORs and our peri-op environment is a much better place and a safer place for caring for our patients thanks to you and those emails and those notifications. So I really appreciate that. And I know you're going to do really wonderful things in CHLA. And I'm very happy that you're going to be there with Charlie and you'll take good care of him because I worry about that a little bit. Come up here, Chris.
Our next speaker is Dr. Narcissian.
Hi everybody, my name is Arash Matamed, one of the faculty attendings here. I was very excited when I found out that I had the opportunity to present Kevin's second work. So initially, I wrote like a really long 5 to 6 page speech for him. This morning, I had one of the chiefs proofread it for me, and they said, "Dude, what's wrong with you? This is a graduation ceremony, not a Comedy Central roast." So at this point, I really don't have a speech. Good luck. Just kidding. I have a speech. I'll keep it short and sweet, okay? So Kevin grew up in SoCal. He attended UCLA for undergrad, went to Virginia Tech for medical school. He's going to be going to Loma Linda for his cardiac fellowship very soon. When I did my digging and my investigation, found out a lot of fun facts. If anyone's interested, his blood type is O negative. Kevin's been an absolute pleasure to work with. Excellent resident. We recently were on call together. He demonstrated that he's totally ready to graduate and move on and become an attending. He showed me that he finally mastered the art of anesthesia. And by that I mean he pretty much canceled every case they tried to do that. His co-residents adore him for his sarcasm and his sense of humor. He's extremely ambitious. So one time he offered to drive a group of them to Vegas. He forgot to mention that he was post-call and did not sleep a minute. After about 5 minutes of driving, he started to kind of swerve and fall asleep. So they kicked him out of the driver's seat and they got to Vegas safely. Kevin's commitment to his patients is outstanding. There's absolutely nothing on this planet that Kevin cares more about than his patients. There's actually one thing, he might care more about than his patients. Eagles. I'm not talking about the band. I'm not talking about the football team. I'm talking about the birds that fly, actual eagles. There's actually an eagle cam up in Big Bear Lake that he's been monitoring very closely. There's a little eagle family with their babies, and he's been providing everybody updates about these eagles. Kevin, you are definitely more than ready to leave the nest, unintended. It's been a pleasure getting to know you, and we wish you the best of luck in your cardiac fellowship, and hope you keep in touch.
Our next speaker is Dr. Sukyasian.
Good morning, everyone. Is it morning still or afternoon already? Due to the sun. I'm Tigran Sukyasian. I'm one of the super junior attendings here. And today is a bittersweet day for all of us. It's bitter because we're saying farewell for the class of 18 amazing physicians. And it's sweet because all of you guys reached the milestone of your career. So from now on, you're going to move on somewhere else, wherever you think you are. I'm presenting one of the most stellar and brilliant residents I worked with in my career, Dr. Luke Suder. Luke Suder was the first physician who I dealt with in countryside doing neonatal case. And it was a 600-grammer septic shock baby. And Luke amazed me. His judgment was clear, his skills were amazing, and his plan was excellent. So from that point, I thought, oh my God, Luke is something special. Then later on, I observed Luke's skills. Anything difficult that other people struggled, Luke sounded and appeared to be super simple and super easy. Whether challenging intubation that other people struggled for a long time, thoracic epidural, people struggle for a long time, pediatric A-line, that neurosurgeon commented that next door we're doing adult case, A-line is still not in. This A-line went in 1 second, so Luke has golden hands. In my opinion, golden hands. Luke has amazing, direct, forward communication skills. I'm sure you all know about that, which I find absolutely exemplary, exemplary for profession. Luke's mind is clear and his way of thinking is extremely pragmatic, which is the fundament of being an excellent anesthesiologist. Luke is not only exemplary physician, he's also a person with multiple interests outside the operating room. He does a lots of cool stuff that makes him a good guy to be with, and he's the heart of every company and beloved. I don't think there is anybody who doesn't like fishing, or mountain climbing, or biking, or golfing. Who wouldn't want to go to golf with Luke? I will be first one to go. Luke is not staying with us in California. He has military commitments. He's from Air Force, so he's going to be going to the state that's named after Queen Elizabeth I of England, which is Virginia. And Luke, I can see him being a chairman or chairperson in future, near future somewhere, because of his excellent leadership skills. Thank you, Luke. It was a pleasure working with you, and all the best for you.
I would like to bring Dr. Arash Matamed back to the stage.
This side keeps getting less. All right. Okay, so it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Shen Wong. So Dr. Wong went to Medical College of Wisconsin for medical school, and pretty soon will be at the number 7 hospital in the country in Cedars-Sinai doing a regional anesthesiology fellowship. So I'll be honest, Linda is the first person that I've really ever interacted with who's from Wisconsin. And I'm a bit ashamed to say that prior to getting to know her, had someone asked me exactly where on the map Wisconsin is, I would probably not do a great job. I would go somewhere in the middle and a little bit up. But to be fair, before you judge me, I'm pretty sure that many of you can't point on a map where I'm from. So we have that in common. And in case you're curious, I'm from Rancho Palos Verdes. So earlier today, I told you the story about Dr. McIntyre helping save a life. And that's amazing, but that's just one life. Happens to be my wife, but one person. Linda, by her presence, I think, has saved this entire residency class and the residency program. As mentioned earlier by Dr. Muir, we all had our doubts in the beginning, but have been very impressed and can't really imagine what this program would be without you. Can't imagine what you've gone through with these guys. And you're affectionately known, as she said, as the den mother. And while it may not appear that way when you first look at her, believe me, she knows how to whip every single one of them and every single one of us into shape in the most kindest, gentlest, and professional ways, and we all appreciate that. She is definitely the glue that's held this program together, and I think in many ways, even though this class is absolutely amazing in multiple ways, one of the ways is just having Linda as part of it. So I can't say congratulations for that, but we're happy. We're happy that you're part of that. And honestly, even if I wasn't her first choice to come up here to speak, or her second choice, or her third choice, I am really honored to be the person to be up here to say that she has been a wonderful human being, wonderful physician, and I'm sure she's going to do amazing things during her fellowship program. And even though she may want to go back to Wisconsin, I hope she considers staying here in LA with us. So come up here, congratulations.
And our final graduate today will be introduced by Dr. Paul Lee.
It's my pleasure and honor to introduce our final graduating resident, Dr. William Wong. Hailing from Rochester, Minnesota and completing his medical school at Tulane, he decided to skip out on his hometown residency at the Mayo Clinic and joined us at USC instead. Lucky for me, I've gotten to know and work with Will on multiple occasions over the 3 years of my time here at USC. There are many words and phrases I can use to describe Will, but the ones that stick out are modest and loyal. He's always been a hardworking and diligent resident. He's always open to suggestions and feedback without taking it personally, at least in front of me. Even though he's technically and clinically skilled, it's rare to see Will gloat or brag about his abilities. Even if he does, it comes off so innocent, you can't even be mad. Loyalty towards his co-residents is also something I've noticed over the years. This is reflected in a lot of this current class, actually, as Dr. Sokol spoke about. I've never seen someone keep a co-resident company in the OR on a trauma call at night beyond December of CA1 year. I've asked him on multiple occasions what you're doing just hanging out in a lap collie with a co-resident in the middle of the night. He always just smiled and shrugged his shoulders because he was having fun. I'm sure your co-residents feel lucky to have trained with you. Will, modesty and loyalty will take you far in life, especially along with your ability to speak up when you need to. Beyond his clinical activities, Will has taken a proactive approach in residency by participating in research projects, volunteering to present posters at regional and national conferences. As for his future plans, he will be taking his talents to the Pacific Northwest and training in regional anesthesia at the University of Washington this year. Are your parents here, Will? Yeah. Mr. and Mrs. Wong, I can tell your son was raised well. He has excellent values. But please don't be upset if he doesn't come home and ends up back in Southern California next year. It's the sun, there's nothing we can do about it. Will, congratulations on completing this part of your academic journey. I know you'll do well in your last phase of training, and keep in touch. Will, pull your...
Okay, we're almost done, but I need to go a little out of sequence from what our plans are for our lunchtime presentations, where we'll present the faculty presentations this year. But one of our faculty is attending this morning, but he has some family obligations this afternoon and can't stay. This year we changed the way we did our faculty awards because we felt like we should give each class a voice, and so we're doing individual faculty of the year presentations from our CA3, CA2, CA1, and intern class. And this year, our intern class has asked us to present the Faculty Teacher of the Year Award to Dr. John Anderson Dam, who is way at the back, so I'm going to make him in the center. And present this award. It actually is a really big honor for faculty to receive Teacher of the Year awards. It's a reflection of the effort they made for the trainees on rotation. John met a lot of the interns on rotation in his cardiovascular ICU work, and they were very appreciative of all the effort he made to impart his knowledge to them. So thank you very much. Okay, we'll do this. So now I'm going to pass the mic over to Dr. Chelsea Jackson. Dr. Jackson is our program director, and if anybody should earn the term den mother, it should be Dr. Jackson. She looks after all 72 of the residents, guiding them through not only their residency education issues, but their personal issues, their house buying, their car issues. I mean, I can't even imagine. And it's been made even more complicated in the past 2 years by all of our COVID issues. So, we really want Dr. Jackson to know that we're very appreciative of all the time and effort that she puts in for her family.
Thank you, Dr. So I don't know if you guys can feel the sun quite like I can, but my hair won't be able to fit in the door if I stay out here much longer. So I want to say to all of you, it has been an absolute joy. I recognize that the most precious thing you have to offer is your time. And your time is a precious, limited commodity. And you chose us. You came to our program. You allowed us to be your teachers, to be your guides. And we don't take that for granted at all. We feel so thankful, grateful, and proud today to say congratulations to all of you, and we wish you all the best. I'm going to hand this over to Spencer to give us all directions so we can get in some air conditioning.
Thank you all again. A quick thank you for everybody coming out, for giving us the support through the last 4 years and making our training here possible. Our next ceremony will be inside in the air conditioning here. It's going to be at the Hyatt House. It's going to be on the bottom floor. So we'll proceed through this gap between the building to the left on the street, and we'll kind of all form a procession, and I'm sure it won't be hard to find. We have quite some time, so feel free to mingle before we can look forward to our opening remarks from Garrett Chan. And we'll have a nice slideshow and some light refreshments for everybody to enjoy.